If you want to hear a Christmas horror story that involves my asshole kid, a kid with cancer, and school spirit week, keep watching. Get home last night, do all the things, dinner, shower, homework. It's 9:30 p.m. I'm telling my kid to go to bed, and he tells me, last minute, I need a pink t-shirt for Spirit Week tomorrow. My son sucks at communicating. We've been working on it this year. And I tell him, no, I have the email from your school. Tomorrow for Spirit Week is sports day. You have tons of hoodies and t-shirts and a jersey. Don't piss me off. You're good. And he says, no, for some reason they voted for 7th grade to wear pink tomorrow. And I'm like, who the fuck voted for that? So at this point, I decide to stand on business. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to be a pushover. No, it's 9:30 p.m. I need to be in bed by 10 p.m. because I get up for work at 3 a.m. So no. He's like, dang, that sucks. And he's like, can I have $10? And I'm like, no, I just gave you $20 yesterday. And then he says, can my grandpa drop me off at school 10 minutes earlier tomorrow? And I'm thinking he wants to frolic around with his friends or something. So I'm like, I'll ask your grandpa, go to bed. Walk back to my room and I get an email from a gift that I actually ordered. And I'm like, oh my gosh, let me check the tracking and see if it's going to get here on time. I open my email. What do you think I see in my email? An email from his school that says, in support of a 7th grade student who has cancer. Big C word, cancer. 7th grade has voted to wear her favorite color, which is pink. Also, the email was sent at 6:55 p.m., which is diabolical. Might as well send it out at midnight. So now I'm like, I'm an asshole. I'm a bad nurse. I'm a bad parent. I'm just the Grinch who stole Christmas. By some miracle, I get online and I'm like, what's open? Target? Five Below? Five Below's open. They close until 10. Sorry to the workers because of the holidays. I run in there. The workers are looking at me like I'm an asshole. And I'm like, listen, I know, but I need a pink t-shirt to support a kid that has cancer during Christmas time. And they're like, go ahead, ma'am. Went in there. They had the cutest Grinch shirts that were pink. And I got a few in different sizes in case his friends didn't have any, obviously to support this student. Also got them a whole bunch of candy. I'm feeling like a great parent. Run back home. At this point, it's 10:15. I should have already been in bed, but I'm putting all this stuff in my son's backpack. And at this point, I'm hyping myself up. I'm like, this is what it's all about. This is a Christmas miracle. And I'm doing that just so I won't kill myself, to be honest. Because at this point, I'm going to get like less than 4 hours of sleep. Anyway, patting myself on the back. I'm like, I'm a good mom. Like, I'm so supportive. I love me. And then guess what? I decide to go back to the email to check the tracking on my gift. I see another email. I had seen this email before when I checked the teacher's email, but I thought it was a scam because the subject line was funds needed. And I'm like, haha, you think you're gonna scam me during Christmas time? I think not. So anyway, I open it and I'm like, let's laugh at this idiot trying to scam me. The email starts off with, hi, my name is whatever. As you guys know, tomorrow, 7th grade will be wearing pink to support my daughter that has cancer. And to make this easier for you guys, I have made pink t-shirts that I will be selling 10 minutes before school tomorrow for $5. This is where I start looking up adoption agencies where I can drop my son off because I'm so fucking pissed off and it's 10:30 now. And I'm like, you know what? This is my kid's fault, that little asshole, for not being able to communicate. I was so mad. I went in his room. I woke his ass up. I'm going off. I'm like, Isaac, where's the communication? Are you fucking kidding me? I just went to Five Below, blah, 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 blah. And he literally rolls over and he looks at me and he says, Mom, I don't say things just for fun. He says, I already told you all of this. At least he thinks he did. And then he rolled over and went back to bed. That little fucker. And I stood there while his back is to me and he's sleeping, literally flipping him off like this. Just don't have kids. Don't do it. Merry Christmas.
My skin is turning yellow, so I'm gonna do my makeup to cover it up and ignore the fact that I probably have an underlying health issue that I need to go get checked out, but I have no money and no insurance, so yeah, let's just do our makeup and cover it up. Also, I'm gonna tell you a really scary story time about something that I remember when I was 6 years old. Just realized that I'm all out of foundation, so I can't do a full beat today. That's okay. We're gonna do the eyes. Okay, so let's take it back. Take it back. Okay, whoa. Not the table. Let's not take the table back. Okay. Okay, so let's take it back to when I was 6 years old. So it was Christmas morning, or like Christmas Eve night. Like everybody was sleeping, but 6-year-old me was like trying my hardest to stay awake so that I could see Santa Claus. I wanted to catch him in the act. I was like, I'm gonna be the first kid on this earth that sees Santa Claus. You know, little kids. So I'm like sitting up, waiting to hear a noise, like almost falling asleep, when I hear like a slight kind of shuffling noise coming from the living room. So I'm like, oh fuck, it's Santa. Now is my time to shine. I'm gonna go see him. So I'm super fucking excited. I run to my door, spring out of bed as fast as I can, and I go and I kind of peek around my door frame, whatever. And the first thing I notice is the green glow of the Christmas tree, which is normal for my house. Like, my family used to always turn the Christmas tree lights to green at night. I think it was to match the stockings because my mom had like a green kind of theme for her stockings. Not just stockings, but like she had like a theme for every room, like a color theme for every room, and the color theme for the living room was green. Not that that matters. Actually, it does kind of matter. Well, I remember just thinking like, how magical is my house? And like, you know, my little 6-year-old brain just being so grateful that my mom was the type of mom to like set up the house so nice for Santa's arrival. And I just remember right as I was thinking that is when I saw something from my chimney, AKA the fireplace, which was like directly in view of my room, in the hallway of everybody's room, basically. As the guy like finally got out from the chimney, I noticed that he was green. And looking back on it now, thinking back on it now, I'm pretty sure it definitely was. It absolutely was the glow of the green lights like reflecting off of his outfit. I'm pretty sure he was wearing all black or something like that. Obviously, he was trying to rob our fucking house. I watched this guy as he is literally taking out a pillowcase and fucking going under my tree, going under our family's tree and stuffing up his fucking shit with all of our presents. I was like, yo, that's the fucking Grinch guy. The Grinch is in my house. No way. I was floored. I think that was like the first year that my mom showed me the Grinch movie, like How the Grinch Stole Christmas. The real one, like the real people one, like the one where he actually looked really scary. And so I was really thinking like this was it. He's gonna steal the presents, he's gonna steal the tree, he's gonna steal us, and he's just gonna take off and we're not gonna have a Christmas. So at that point I froze and I'm standing in the doorway staring at him doing this, tears welling up in my eyes. I didn't know what to do. I thought Christmas was over. As if it was like a Christmas miracle, a miracle from Santa Claus himself. The guy, the Grinch, stepped on the only loose floorboard in our living room, and it creaked so fucking loudly that it woke up my dog that was sleeping in my parents' bedroom, and she went ballistic. She went absolutely fucking insane, which then woke up my whole family. And thankfully my stepdad and the dog ran out of the bedroom. This is like what I remember in my brain. Okay, I was 6, so it's kind of jumbled for me, but I remember like seeing the door of their bedroom bust open and the dog flew out first. Then my stepdad ran out behind the dog, and oh my God, it scared me so bad that was when I like hop, skipped, and jumped back into my bed. I got some bravery back and I ran back over to my door frame and I peeked around to see like how this was gonna go down, what was gonna happen, if he was going to catch the Grinch, if we were gonna get like, if Christmas was gonna be saved. But I never got to really see anything except for the fact that my stepdad had fucking like intercepted the man. I'm pretty sure he had him in his grip, and that's all I saw. That's all I saw, because my mom came out of the bedroom, realized that I was awake and watching the situation go down. So she ran out of her bedroom, grabbed me, threw me in her room, locked me in her bedroom, ran back out, went into my brother's room, grabbed my brother, ran back into her room, locked us all in there. And that's pretty much all I know about the situation. because, like I said, I was 6 years old. They kept all of that from me. I wasn't supposed to know any of it. The cops were called, and the guy did get arrested because my dad like ended up detaining him in the house until the police got there. And we did get all of our presents back. So Christmas was not stolen by the Grinch. And I was really happy about that. And I don't know why, I didn't tell my mom that I saw the guy come in because I just didn't want her to like either not believe me or like freak out even more. Plus, I was just happy that we got to have a relatively normal Christmas after that. And then I pretty much forgot about it for the rest of the day until I was older. I don't know, it was fucking scary though. Also, this is not my best look. This is not my best job. I'm pretty concerned about my yellow skin. Why is my skin turning yellow?
Good morning. Do you want to hear a scary story? So back in the day, I used to babysit for a family that's house was extremely haunted. 2 girls, the oldest one I call Luna, the youngest one I call Aura for privacy purposes. Now, I've told an Elf on the Shelf video before about this home with these girls. This is another Elf on the Shelf video in honor of Christmas. This is actually an entirely different year than the last story I told about Elf on the Shelf. Like, this is a different Christmas, a different year. So the mom had asked me, hey, like, can you hide the Elf on the Shelf tonight, like, when they go to bed? Because I was basically staying overnight. I was staying until 5 a.m. because the parents worked very crazy hours, right? And I was like, sure, no problem. Even though I hated that thing and it was so scary to me, I was like, it's fine, I'll do it. She was like, okay, I just have this idea, so make sure you do this idea for me. And basically, the mom put cinnamon in her coffee every day. And so she was like, if you can just take the cinnamon and, make little elf footprints in it and put it on the counter next to the coffee machine and then have it like holding on to an empty cup of coffee. I was like, oh, that's cute, no worries, I can do that. And this particular night, things were going smooth. Surprisingly, there was no interactions with Pete, who was the oldest daughter's imaginary friend, who was actually not an imaginary friend. I had no interactions with Pete, with Bathsheba, with nothing, right? It's like, great, this is gonna be a nice, easy day. I'm scaring myself telling this story right now because I'm at work, but it's still dark outside and nobody's in here, so. Anyways, show must go on. So the girls end up going to bed, right? And I've talked about this before, but if I was like spending the night with them, we would have like most of the times sleepover parties in the living room, and we would all sleep, like me and the girls would sleep on the couch together because there was like a big long sectional, and so they would be on like one end of it and then I would be on the other end. But I just like this all to be close because of the interactions, like the most I could. And the parents always like let it slide when I had to stay that late, basically into the next morning. Like, they didn't really argue with it too much because the girls were still sleeping, So the girls had fallen asleep on the couch, and the kitchen was basically in the same room as like the living room, just a big open space, you know what I mean? And the girls passed out, fell asleep, had packed their lunch, or I think it was just Luna's lunch at the time, I can't remember, done all their stuff they needed for school the next morning. Because basically when like mom or dad came home to relieve me, I think it was dad in this instance, like he would be the one to like take them to school. I would go home at like 5 a.m. So sometimes I take them to school, but not this particular day. So they're sleeping on the couch and I'm getting everything ready. And I am very proud of myself, right? I'm doing the Elf on the Shelf exactly how she wanted. I'm, tucking its little feet into like the cinnamon. I'm putting it all over the counter and I'm like trying to make like little cinnamon footsteps. I made it work and it was really cute. Set it next to the coffee cup. Of course, when I start doing Elf on the Shelf though, everything was normal night, right? Things start feeling uneasy and the girls are sleeping. Even though I can see them, I begin to get that horrible god-awful feeling of like something's watching me. And when I was trying to set the Elf on the Shelf to like look like he was, his little hand was like him leaned against the coffee cup, it kept falling down, which I get, it's a flimsy Elf on the Shelf, but I was like, this is so weird because like I'm setting its whole body basically up against this coffee cup and it's just not sticking. Like, this is very odd. So I'm trying to figure it out. And then from behind me, like behind the living room, is parents' room, right? It's pretty dark in here at this point because again, the girls are sleeping and I was exhausted this night. I remember like I couldn't wait, and also I hadn't had many, nothing bad happened, so I felt okay to sleep. Normally it was kind of hard to sleep in this house, but I was exhausted. I'm in high school still at this point, so I couldn't wait to go to bed. I'm tired. So dim lights, and all of a sudden I come from like the parents' room. I hear, it sounded like scratching, like I'm like, God damn, dude. Like, can I literally ever have one day over here where I am not being tormented? And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna ignore it today. I was exhausted and I was like very creeped out because I felt like I was just being watched. And the sound of like nails scratching on something, but I was a little bit numb to it at this point. Like, stuff happened every time I came over to this house. So I'm like, F this, I'm ignoring it. I'm not even gonna pay any mind to it. And then I lay down, and I didn't even go investigate no, I'm done. Okay, I'm done investigating. I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna feed into this. I'm not gonna pay any attention. So I get on the couch with my blanket and my pillow, check on the girls, like right on the other side of the sectional. They're okay. We're all like close together. You know what I mean? Like on this sectional, like I can see them, and we're very close. So I'm like, great, like, they're asleep. I remember I plugged my phone into like an extension cord of a charger, and I like put the blanket over my head and I go to sleep. I wake up at some point in the middle of the night. Don't know what time it is. Look over at my phone and it's dead. It's unplugged from the charger that was plugged into the extension cord, and I freaking knew I plugged my phone in, and I hadn't rolled over it or anything. Like the way I positioned my phone behind my head, it didn't make sense, right? So I wake up and my phone's dead, and I just feel very, very uneasy. And I look over and I see Luna is sitting up, and it scared me half to death. I'm like, Jesus Christ, she pops up and I'm like, oh. It's like, Luna, like, what are you doing awake? And she was like, Riley, I'm so sorry. Like, the poor elf can't ever just do what he wants. I'm like, what do you mean the elf can't do what he wants? And I look over into the kitchen. Can't really see much. It's dark, right? So I'm like, here we go. I get up and I turn the lights on. Like, this is what I would do when stuff would happen. Lights. Every light would go on in the house, right? I did not, especially towards like this point, I was done playing with stuff. So I'm turning on every light, and Aura, the younger one, is still sleeping through this. And the cinnamon that like I had literally put away and shut was knocked over on the kitchen floor, and it was everywhere. It looked like it was thrown open. And remember I told you like little not paw prints, but the elf on the shelf, like little feet things I was trying to do, the footsteps. There is like a claw mark like this, and it's like dragged through the cinnamon, like through the little tracks that I had made. And I don't know where Elf went. I was like, Luna, babe, like, are you messing with me? Like, this is really not funny. And I think I actually started crying because I was so overwhelmed and tired. Like, guys, I worked for this family all the time, and I also had 2 other jobs at the time, and I was in high school. So I am exhausted. Like, I just need a fucking break. And I just remember I fell asleep with the kitchen light on. I was like, Luna, it's okay, babe. Like, we'll figure it out. We'll find Elf tomorrow. And I get woken up like a couple hours later. I don't even know what time it was. I remember I replugged my phone in, but I was too afraid to look at the clock in case it was like 3 a.m. or something. And I get woken up a couple hours later by the parent. Their dad gets home, and he, lightly kind of like taps me. He's like, hey, Riley, like, good morning. Like, you're good to go. I'm here now. And he's like, hey, can I just ask you one thing? Where's the elf? And if you watch my stories, the parents literally don't believe in any of this, and they were believing the whole time. So I never even tried to explain anything towards the end. I was like, I don't know. I did the plan that mom wanted and asked me to do, and I woke up and it's not here. Maybe, I don't know. He was like, oh, okay, like, we'll find it. They ended up finding the elf, like, a few days later, underneath Luna's bed in her room that's across the house. And I know for a damn fact it was not Luna, because Luna admitted to the stuff she did, A. And B, it just didn't make any sense, because Luna was scared when we both woke up that night, and she was like, I'm sorry about, the elf. It's not Luna. And I asked her about it next time I was over there. I was like, did you, like, move? You can be honest with me. And she was like, no, Riley, like, that wasn't me. I didn't take the elf. I don't like the elf. So that's all I ever know. Bye.
I grew up in a haunted house, and I want to tell you a Christmas ghost story that I always think about this time of year. Just to give a little bit of context, the house I grew up in was built in the 1800s, and we experienced paranormal activity there all the time. That's part of what got me interested in the paranormal to begin with. My mom has always been a Christmas fanatic, so anytime Christmas came around, she would always deck the house out. Every single room was decorated with different Christmas decorations, from the kitchen all the way to the bathroom. The experience I'm going to talk about today happened probably about 12 to 15 years ago, and it was probably around 7 p.m. 7:30, around dinner time. Me, my mom, my dad, it was just us sitting around the dinner table having dinner together. Well, as we were sitting there talking, having dinner, all of a sudden we get interrupted by a huge crash that happened out in the hallway that was right outside of the kitchen. When we first heard the noise, we kind of all got startled. We looked at each other puzzled and wondering what in the world that noise was, and I was the first one that got up from the table to go investigate the sound. As I mentioned, my mom had all sorts of Christmas decorations, and part of that collection was those creepy motionette animatronic dolls that moved back and forth. She had one that was Santa Claus, one that was Mrs. Claus, and then she had this one right here that's just this young girl dressed in a Christmas outfit that's holding a candle. When I went into the hallway to investigate what that sound was, that was that doll getting flung across the hallway, probably 8 feet across the hallway, and crashing to the ground. It got flung so hard that it flipped over on its face, it was turned completely 180 degrees, and the cord had been removed from the wall. It was no longer plugged in, and it had about a 6-foot cord. We didn't have any large animals or dogs in the house that could have knocked it over. We just had one small little poodle that was very senior in his life, and he was pretty much held the whole time, and he was in the kitchen with us. There wasn't really any reasonable explanation on how that doll got flung all the way across the hallway and unplugged from the wall. Naturally, I just set the doll back up, plugged it back in the wall, it started working again, and we went back to eating dinner. Just another normal day in a haunted house. If you grew up in a haunted house, I'd love to hear your stories. Comment below and tell me about your experiences. Merry Christmas, y'all. Have a good one.
Weird spooky Christmas stories. This one's about a Christmas visitor. So this Reddit user said that he did not believe in ghosts, but something happened Christmas night last year that shook him to his core. He said he was staying at his parents' house, sleeping in his old bedroom, and in the middle of the night he woke up because his bedroom door began to creak open. He said it was very clear and somebody was just slowly pushing it open. He said it was dark, but he saw a figure walking toward his bed. He just assumed that it was his mom coming in the room to gently wake him up earlier than he thought because they were going to go over to his sister's house and watch his nieces and nephews open their presents. So he just said, "Mama?" But the figure didn't answer. It just stood over him, silent, completely still. After about 2 seconds, he realized that's not his mom. He said he swung at the figure and felt nothing. He said his hand went straight through it, and then the figure just dissolved. He shot out of bed, turned on the light, and he said he left the light on for the rest of the night. Next morning, he told his mom what happened, and she wasn't surprised. She said that none of his nieces and nephews will sleep in that room. She said that everyone gets uncomfortable when they walk in. Here's where the story gets heavier. He said that when he was younger, that this is the room that he and his ex-girlfriend used to shoot up H. This was before he got sober. He says he's been clean for 6 years now. He said that he's heard that intense addiction or trauma, even suffering, can leave marks, like an imprint in the space. Oh, and right across the hallway, his grandma passed away. So now the question becomes, was the figure tied to the grandmother? Was it something left behind from the years of addiction and pain? Or was it something else entirely? Whatever it was, it only took a few seconds. But it was enough to make a non-believer sleep with the lights on. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, or if you've ever had an experience like this, send it my way.